From Joe Madden in the top of the 5th inning. In the bottom of the 5th, Ron Gardenhire, the Twins skipper. And in our immediate plans, Dick Bremer will be chatting with Aaron Hicks, followed up by Todd Callis as he chats with Ben Zobrist, just back from the WBC. Baseball from Southwest Florida coming up.
Twins and the Rays on a warm Saturday afternoon as we welcome you back to Charlotte Sports Park in Port Charlotte, Florida, joined by Ben Zobrist. And Zo, it's been a little bit different spring for you. You know, you ramped up for the World Baseball Classic. Where are things right now, and how have you adjusted to a little bit different spring?
Yeah, well, I feel good. You know, I feel like I'm maybe even a little bit more ready than I normally would be right now. So, you know, the season started tomorrow. I would feel good about it, and now that we're getting that warm weather out here, we're all getting loose a little bit easier.
What do you hope to accomplish then in the final 10 days? You said you're pretty much game ready now, right?
Yeah, it's just timing, a little bit more timing, wanting to see all the pitches, be able to you know, keep your positioning at the plate with all the pitches, and then out here it's just you know, getting comfortable, get a couple more starts in other places besides right field, and just get the feel for playing with the new guys this year.
Thanks, Ben.
All right.
That is Ben Zobrist. Right now, let's go across the field to the Twins, Dick Bremer.
Well, Todd, thank you very much. 1 week from today, the Twins will play their last Grapefruit League game. Then they'll fly to Minnesota. Aaron Hicks hopes to be on that flight, and without taking anything for granted, how would you assess your play here in your first Major League training camp?
I think it's been really good. You know, been facing a lot of pitchers that you know, have shown that of why they're here. You know, Cy Young pitchers like Price and a guy like Cliff Lee. You know, I gotta love facing those guys. And really, I'm just trying to make a good impression and trying to make a team.
All those other years at the minor league side, you wondered what it would be like over on the major league side in spring training. What's been the biggest surprise so far?
Just how about they go about their business on a daily basis. You know, this is their job. You know, and they treat it like it's their job. You know, there's no mess around here, and that's what I love about it.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your experience in cold weather, because if you do make the team, you're going to be in Minnesota, and they're talking about mid-40s for opening day. That was the manager, Ron Gardenhire, cutting in front there. But you played in plenty of cold weather before, haven't you?
Yeah. You know, first year was in Beloit, Wisconsin. Got to play out there in Low A. And then last year in New Britain, Connecticut. So I'm definitely getting used to playing in the cold, but, I mean, you know, we'll see once if I make the club and head up north to Minnesota, or if I go to Rochester, New York.
All right, Aaron, good luck. Continued success. Been one of the bright spots in the Twins spring training this year. Guys, back up to you.
All right, Dick, thank you very much. We'll be hearing more from Dick Bremer and Todd Callis throughout the afternoon as our game progresses here in Port Charlotte. Let's take a quick look at the starting lineup. Ron Gardenhire in his 12th season as the skipper of the Minnesota Twins has Aaron Hicks leading off. Ryan Dozier hits second in front of Josh Willingham. Ryan Doman will do the catching and hit cleanup. Wilkin Ramirez is in left. Jared Mastroianni is in right field. And Rolfing At first base, Eduardo Escobar hits 8th and 3rd, and Pedro Flormon is the shortstop batting 9th.
And David Price on the mound. We talked about his numbers in the open, but here this spring, this will be his 4th A game start. Now, he did appear in a couple B games. His last B game last Monday was actually cut short a little bit because of rain. He pitched only 1 inning and then finished his work underneath in the bullpen. So, he could get a good workout in. But David Price, this young man, 27 years old, this will be his 6th season with the Rays. This guy is the ace of the Rays staff.
He will lead the charge for this Tampa Bay ball club. And Aaron Hicks, of whom we spoke just moments ago, will lead it off here for the Twins. He's had a very good spring, and the Twins are hopeful he is the answer out there. First pitch is a strike from Price. We're underway.
And that's no surprise. David Price will throw that fastball in the upper 90s at times once he gets loose. Hard slider. He'll mix in a curveball and a very good changeup. Another reason he was 20-5 last year.
Long throw by Escobar, and the speedy Hicks is out at first base. Hicks can get down that line as we saw there, and Escobar made a nice defensive play.
Yeah, Escobar having to go to his right. What you want to do is set yourself up as quick as possible. You see all that weight on that back foot allows him to throw a nice little P across the diamond to get to Speedy Hicks. Nice defensive play.
Defense was a thorn for the Tampa Bay Rays a year ago. Oddly enough, here's Dozier. Brian Dozier, the second baseman.
Dozier up a little bit last year. He played in 84 ball games for the Twins, mainly as a shortstop. This year with Flormon, now the hopefully everyday shortstop. Dozier getting an opportunity to play second base.
I'll take the count to 1-1. Been a lot of competition in the Twins camp for positions. And not only, I guess, position players, Bert, but on the mound as well.
Well, you know what, Dwayne? There are a lot of question marks for Ron Gardenhire and the Twins coming into spring training. Who's going to play center? Aaron Hicks looks like right now he's a little bit ahead of Darren Mastroianni, who's also in the lineup just playing another outfield position. But then you look at up the middle. Gardy being a former infielder himself, Dwayne, he realizes the importance of good pitching and good defense. And for the last couple of years, they've been looking for that combination up the middle. And hopefully that Flormon and Dozier are that 1-2 combination at second and short.
Foul ball runs the count to 2-2. And interestingly enough, the Rays over the last 5 years have been so good. But leading up to that point, when they finally turned the corner, the Minnesota Twins turned out to be a model that they wanted to follow. And it all came back to what you just mentioned, pitching and defense. It's short right, and it's going to fall in front of Zobrist. Dozier has a base hit.
Yeah, not hit sharply right there, just in the right spot. A couple times he's tried to work that right field line, and Dozier gets the first hit of the ball game. There's that defense going.
Joyce and Jennings moves over to play center with Upton gone. Zobrist very good in right. Longoria, Escobar left side. Johnson and Loney, a new set of defenders on the right side with Lobato doing the catching.
You have to be impressed with what the Tampa Bay Rays have been able to do under Joe Madden. Unbelievable job what they've been able to do over the last 5 years. But, he took over in 2006, had a couple frustrating years, but this organization is just getting better and better.
Joe Madden now in his 8th year as the skipper here. Boy, how time flies.
Sure does. Yeah, we showed you Ron Gardenhire already in his 12th year. Unbelievable.
Willingham lifts it into left. Joyce back a few steps. The wind blowing out that way, but short of the track. He makes the catch for the second out. Dozier hangs on at first.
Yeah, Willingham, a big part of the Twins offense, just got underneath that fly ball or that ball right there and hit it to deep left field. But 35 home runs. He drove in 110 runs last year. Josh Willingham.
Here's Ryan Doumit, who's doing the catching and hitting cleanup today.
Domet in his second season with the Twins, coming over from the Pittsburgh Pirate organization where he played there for 7 seasons. Nice breaking ball by Price to get ahead.
Domet was all set for the hard stuff.
And that's what you expect, out of David Price. He just took a little bit off that breaking ball, and Domet way out front. David Price, as I mentioned, 27 years old, a 3-time All-Star, winning the American League Cy Young Award last year. #1 pick by the Rays out of Vanderbilt University back in 2007.
So the Rays have the shift on for Domet, and that's something that Madden might not have been the first guy to do that, but he employs that shift more than anybody you can really think of.
All the staffs now have so many scouting reports on hitters. Domet, a right-handed hitter, also a switch hitter. From the right side, has a tendency to pull the ball a little bit more.
There's Price off the mound and makes a nice play right there to get Domet. So the Twins get a base hit, leave a man. We go to the bottom of the first. No score. By H.H. Gregg. All Sundays throughout the season, Family Fun Days presented by the Tampa Bay Times on Sunday, April 7th. Kids 14 and under receive an Evan Longoria wall cling presented by Matchup Promotions while supplies last. Twins had a base hit in the top of the first, left a man aboard, and the Tampa Bay Rays coming in to hit at the bottom of the first. Let's take a look at the Rays lineup. Desmond Jennings leads off, followed by Ben Zobrist and Matt Joyce. Evan Longoria, the cleanup hitter, and the DH is Luke Scott. Janelle Escobar at short. James Loney hits 7th at first in front of Jose Lobaton, the catcher. Kelly Johnson hits 9th, playing second base.
And there'll be Kevin Correa on the mound for the Twins. He's making his 6th spring training start, looking for that first win, but this is spring training. Got to get his work in. He's a newcomer to the Minnesota Twins this year, signed as a free agent, a 2-year contract by the Twins. He is throwing to Ryan Domet. They were battery mates when they were teammates in Pittsburgh.
Desmond Jennings in the batter's box, looking at a first pitch strike. Jennings has walked a lot more this spring, and that's something that has been a point of emphasis from Joe Madden for Desmond Jennings. That on-base percentage out of that leadoff spot.
Yeah, patience. A guy like Jennings, 31 stolen bases last year. He was caught only twice. So, yeah, I mean, if you can get him on, he can create some havoc on the base paths.
He's been 6 of 6 so far this spring running.
Well, what the Rays will see from Correa is a guy that's not overpowering, low 90s, but he'll work both sides of the plate. Pretty good slider and the changeup. There's a slider there, left up a little bit.
So it's still a 1-2 count on Jennings. Zobrist will be next. And the Twins rotation, a new look this spring than the one they featured a year ago.
Yeah, Garner, Baker, Blackburn, Pavano, Liriano, There's so many new names now in that rotation, and it's still a competition. Who's going to be that 4th and 5th starter?
Still a ball and 2 strikes to Jennings.
Some of the names that the Twins fans will see this winter: Vance Worley. He's scheduled right now to be the opening day starter. They have not officially made it, but he's coming off elbow surgery in September. And then Kevin Correa, maybe the number 2 or 3 starter, along with Mike Pelfrey. And then Scott Diamond will start out this season. The left-hander had a good year last year on a disabled list, so that kind of opens up the door for Liam Hendricks or Cole DeVries or other type starters. Even Samuel Deduno is going to get an opportunity. P.J. Walters, he'll be pitching tomorrow. He's had a very good spring.
Yeah, Deduno opened some eyes in the WBC.
Sure did.
And Jennings, who was down 0-2, has worked the count full now.
Yeah, very good at bat for Desmond Jennings to start this ball game off. Correa has pitched with the Giants, the Padres, and the Pirates. So his first year in the American League. Now you play interleague play. I know that Correa faced Tampa Bay one time, a couple years ago when he was with the Pirates or the Padres. But this is a new league to him, and also this is an opportunity for the Rays to kind of see what he has. And so you want at-bats like Jennings had to see what, his repertoire is toward home plate.
Now, this is the 9th pitch of the at-bat. Gorman, the shortstop, handles this one, so Jennings grounds out, but he had a good at-bat right there.
Saw all his pitches right there. Twins on the defense, you'll see, pretty good outfield right there. Ramirez in left. He's getting an opportunity to show Ron Gardenhire he might want to play on this ball club. Hicks, we talked about him, and Mastroianni, outstanding speed. Escobar, utility type player at third. Florimon and Dozier. There's that 1-2 combo.
And Ben Zobrist, who's hitting second, playing right field today. 1 ball, no strikes. Zobrist played for Team USA in the WBC. Speaking of that, you fared pretty well yourself in the WBC.
Yeah, we did.
Congratulations.
Thank you. The Netherlands team made it to the finals, which is something that I know everybody that has a little bit of Dutch in them, very, very proud, as you are.
Yep. Well, this is we're going all Dutch here today. The best way to have dinner.
That was a lot of fun. We didn't expect, I think, to get to the final, so it was good for the Dutch Federation.
Zobrist ahead in the count. Zobrist coming over a few years ago in a trade with Houston. Has played all over the place. Finished last year, as most of you know, playing shortstop. An outstanding second baseman. And an outstanding right fielder.
Yeah, I mean, he's just so versatile, and that's what Joe Madden, a lot of the ball players that the Rays have can play so many different positions. Zobrist already in his 8th season with the Rays, a career .260 hitter, played in 157 games last year for Madden. Hit 20 home runs. Power from both sides of the plate.
Under this one, it lifts it toward right. Mastroianni waiting now and makes the catch. 2 gone. He's going to get Matt Joyce to the plate, who's hitting third today. Interesting what the lineup will look like for Joe Madden this year. One of the potential lineups has Matt Joyce hitting out of the number 2 spot. Of course, Joe, who uses that defensive shift a lot, also tinkers with that lineup. And because of matchups and last year a lot of injuries, he actually paraded 151 different lineups out there.
Unbelievable. That's Gene Mauch type of changing the lineup on a daily basis. So I'm sure as a player, you come into the ballpark, you'd like to be playing, but you want to see where you're hitting in that lineup. And Matt Joyce has to be. I mean, he came up with the Detroit Tigers in 2008, coming over to the Rays in 2009. A Tampa Bay native getting an opportunity to play at home. That's always good.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun for him, and the fans really relate to the idea that he's a hometown guy. Out Roping takes care of it at first. We're through an inning and no score.
At target field.
On to the second inning. Ron Gardenhire at the Minnesota dugout. Twins come in 12-13 for the spring. The Rays are 14-12. And David Price on the hill today for the Rays.
You know, a lot of fans look at those records and they say, well, they're playing 500. But, you know, I think in spring training, if clubs can play 500, so many guys are in and out of that lineup. Of course, Joe Mauer, Justin Morneau are not here. You know, you just try to get these guys ready for that first day. And for the Twins, it's April 1st. And for the Rays, it's April 2nd.
Yeah,
you guys open up against Baltimore.
That's right. Baltimore and then Cleveland in on the first homestand. Here's Ramirez to open the second. Price just misses a little wide.
Yeah, Ramirez having a very good spring. He's opening up some eyes here. I had a chance to talk to him before the ball game, and he's fighting for that job here. And you know, a guy that can play a lot of different positions.
And he's had a number of at-bats. That's his 16th hit of the spring already. Takes it the other way.
Well, good piece of hitting, fastball away, and not trying to do too much with it. Get some good wood on it. And see where it lands, and lands up out in right field.
Darren Mastriani up here. As the Twins look for speed, he's one of the guys who can provide it.
He's like a Jennings, a guy that you know, has to make contact, go deep into the count. He's right on top of the plate. Good fastball middle in. Mastriani last year hit .252 for the Twins, but when he was on, he did run. 21 stolen bases, was caught only 3 times. Can play all 3 outfield positions. It was kind of Mastriani, Aaron Hicks, and Joe Benson, the 3 kind of heads that were looking at maybe becoming the everyday center fielder for the Twins. Right now, Hicks is getting more playing time in center as spring training is winding down. But Mastriani, a 4th type outfielder that can play all 3 positions and has an outstanding arm, and a guy that, like we talked about, if he gets on, he can make things happen.
And you get a good outfielder who can play all 3 positions and run. They come in handy.
Yes, they do.
He's out on strikes.
Yeah, Price picking up his first strikeout of the ball game. Good breaking ball, inner half of the plate. Mastriani right on top of the plate. You can see where he stands in that box, and look at the downward break on that breaking ball by David Price.
And that's been the big development in Price with his off-speed stuff, the breaking stuff, and the occasional change. A couple of years ago, he tried to throw a change. You could see him slow his arm from time to time. But he's very good with that now. Runner goes, and the throw is not in time. Ramirez picks up a stolen base.
Yeah, Ramirez got a great jump right there off of Price. Even though it was a strong throw to second base, Ramirez stole that off of Price. Take a look right there. He's about a third of the way by the time the ball just left Price's hand. So a good read by Ramirez.
The Twins have the first scoring opportunity of the game. And Rolfing with a count of 1-1 by Trey, the catcher, playing first base today.
Rolfing originally signed by the Twins back in 2007. 6 minor league seasons, a .242 minor league hitter.
Into left center field. That's going to get the run home. Ramirez scores easily. The throw back into second on an RBI single. The Twins take a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, Dan Rolfing got a pitch down and lined it into left center for the first RBI of the ball game. Pitch down. Good piece of hitting. Ball left up a little bit by Price, but Rolfing scores Ramirez. Then the Twins take a 1-0 lead.
Joyce over to cut it off and Rolfing to one base. Here's Escobar, Eduardo Escobar. A strike on the inside part of the plate.
Hey, Escobar coming over from the Chicago White Sox last year in the Francisco Liriano trade at the latter part of July. A utility player, a switch hitting infielder, starting at third.
Down to third. Longoria, Johnson one. Longoria starts the double play. Longoria, Johnson, Loney. A run scored for the Twins, and they lead 1-0. Part of the craziest new fan section in Tampa Bay, District K9. Your specially priced ticket includes a lower level seat, District K9 t-shirt, a K card, maybe even a chance to meet Astro. To purchase tickets, visit RaysBaseball.com/District K9. Brand new at the Trop. A perfect day for that here in Port Charlotte. Taking advantage of the berm and the sunshine here.
I tell you what, so many ballparks here in spring training. Anybody watching that has not been to a spring training game, I know over at Hammond Field in Fort Myers, they're going to put a berm. That's their eventual goal, is to put a berm out there and also utilize the outfield like they have here in Port Charlotte. What a great place. Any field here in spring training is beautiful to come watch a spring training game.
Here's Evan Longoria. Evan has had a good spring. He wanted to make sure that he got plenty of at-bats. He's going to have 50 plus at-bats and be ready for the regular season, and the Rays really missed his play last year.
You know, Dwayne, we talked about that before the ball game, about the importance of keeping guys healthy. Twins, of course, need a pitching staff, starting staff, to stay healthy. For the Rays, Luke Scott, Evan Longoria. My goodness, if you guys can keep this guy healthy, this guy is a great player. I mean, a 3-time All-Star, American League Rookie of the Year back in 2008. Last year played in only 74 ball games, had some hamstring injuries. The year before he played, I believe, 130, but still kind of went out there playing hurt a little bit.
Yep, he had some oblique issues then and the hamstring last year.
Got a lot of power.
Into right center field. And that ball falls out of the reach of Mastroianni. In between the right fielder and the center fielder. And Longoria winds up at second. That appeared to be trouble from the beginning.
Yeah, you mentioned the wind is blowing out the left field. Mastroianni, and I'm praising his outfield defense earlier, but this ball just kind of kept drifting on him. You see Hicks kind of backing away because Mastroianni, I'm sure, called him off. But that ball just kept drifting away from him and then could not catch it.
So Longoria is in scoring position. And here's Luke Scott. So they post the hit on the scoreboard. Ball in the air a long time, but drifting away from the right fielder and in between both outfielders. Luke Scott now takes the pitch down. Here's another guy the Rays this spring are seeing signs that he's healthy. He's swinging the bat much better. And if he's healthy and can get back to the point where he was before all of those injuries, he will help this offense.
Yeah, he was a big part of the Orioles offense before coming over to the Rays last year. But yeah, you need Luke Scott. He's got power. Right now, what he's trying to do is get Longoria. You can see by that kind of a yank on that bat, trying to get Longoria over to third. And these are the little things, even though it's a spring training game, you want to work on just to get ready for that opening day assignment. Try to advance the runner, maybe with a base hit to right field. And as a pitcher, you know that, so you maybe change speeds a little bit, trying to pitch him inside. There's a fastball away.
Well, let's take a look at what Scott has done over the last few years. And you can see before the injuries set in, he averaged 23, 24 home runs a year.
Yep. And at Tropicana Field, you get that ball airborne down that right field line, the ball will jump. Good off-speed pitch there by Correa. Scott, 34 years old, originally signed by the Cleveland Indians back in 2001 out of Oklahoma State University. He came up with the Astros in 2005. He spent 4 seasons with the Orioles and last year with the Rays.
Longoria picking up his 8th double to lead off this inning. Twins scored a run at the top of the second. Kevin Correa on the hill. And a full count.
You know, we were talking about the starting staff for the Twins, Dwayne, that last year nobody's here anymore. So the Twins went out and tried to, get some pitchers. They had to make some trades. They had to trade Ben Revere. They had to trade Denard Span to try to bring in some starting help. Kevin Correa, he signed a 2-year contract with the Twins as a free agent, a guy that last year worked 171 innings. The most he's worked 4 years ago with the Padres, 198 innings. So what they won, and there's ball 4 to Luke Scott, which runners at first and third with nobody out. They need guys to go deep into the ball game. The Twins have some good arms out in that bullpen, but just like the Rays, if the starters don't go average, 7, 8 innings at times, that bullpen's going to get worn out by August.
Yeah. And the Twins have traditionally been a throw strikes, pitch to contact approach to the game, but they've added a couple of young but strong arms in those deals coming back. So they have a couple of hard throwing young pitchers, but they may be a year or two away.
Right. Alex Meyer, one of them.
Here's Escobar. And Joe Madden has liked everything he's seen out of Escobar here this spring. In fact, has gone so far as to say he could be a real key to the success of this club.
Yeah, he kind of had an off year last year with the Toronto Blue Jays. And hit 253. He's a career 282 hitter.
And as shortstops go, he's a little stronger than you might think. He's got extra base power. And the Rays have said, and you can see his career numbers coming off that 253 season, a down year for him. But if they could have gotten 253 all year long out of the shortstop spot last year, they would have been in the postseason.
Well, Escobar, not only good defense, you saw his good numbers right there offensively.
Down still 2 strikes.
Escobar, with the Toronto Blue Jays last year, he's involved in that huge trade with the Florida Marlins, and then the Rays ended up picking him up from the Marlins.
And so what the Rays have done is shore up that inner defense.
Good slider there, and Escobar, strikeout victim.
So a big strikeout for Correa right there.
You need a strikeout right there. This is that hard slider that Correa features. See, Dolman almost had to bring his glove down to catch that. The ball just dropped at the last second.
And now the first baseman, James Loney, about to step into the batter's box. The Rays defensively struggled a year ago, which was not what they had in mind. They've always been in this winning stretch a very good defensive team, and they were inconsistent defensively a year ago. Loney is one of the guys in that inner defense they think makes them better, along with Escobar.
Yeah, good defense. If he can get back to some of the numbers he put up with the Dodgers. He had an off year last year between the Dodgers and the Red Sox. Hit 249, had only 6 home runs. Prior to that, he was a power hitter in that Dodger lineup.
Well, he's shown to be a good contact guy, limited strikeouts. Foul the other way, and now Correa is ahead of Loney, 2 strikes. Longoria dropped the double into right center, then Scott walked. Correa struck out Escobar and is ahead of Loney. 5 first pitch strikes for Correa of the 7 hitters he's faced so far.
Yeah, Correa, former All-Star of 2011 when he was with the Pirates.
Not chasing that one. A ball, 2 strikes. Shortstop Norman with a toss. Dozier's throw to first, and the Twins turn the double play. 6-4-3. So the leadoff double comes to nothing for the Rays through 2. 1-0 Twins.
that comes along with Twins season tickets.
Fans enjoying the sound here in Port Charlotte. 1-0 Twins lead the Rays as we go to the third. And we're going to go to the Rays dugout and Todd Callis. Todd?
Thank you, Dwayne. With Tom Foley, third base coach, also works a lot with the infielders, too, on defense. Some new faces on that infield, and it's going to be a challenge. It's good for spring training to get this workout in where you get challenged with the sunflower seeds. But a lot of new faces. What do you think about the defense this year and what it may present compared to last?
Well, I think we're pretty solid. You know, we picked up Uni, which has got a lot of range, strong arm, and Loney at first base, who's got an exceptional glove. So. And Kelly, solid second baseman. I think all around we're going to be a solid infield. I expect the defense to be, I'm going to say stellar as it was in the past. I know we started off last year struggling a little bit, and then Longo went down, and trying to fill that spot's kind of tough. But we're feeling real good. The guys are working hard, and we'll see.
You mentioned Uni, Yunel Escobar at shortstop. Probably a rotation at second base. How do you work that in spring training, trying to get enough reps? Obviously, Kelly Johnson's familiar with him, but trying to get enough reps with all the guys in that double play combo.
Well, I think the other guys that have been here, you got Roberts here, and you have Sean, and Fontenot's been working out there, and Figueroa has been in camp all the time, and they've all been getting their reps. And it's not very hard. Once you get in there, and for the most part, the big boys have played together, and it's been pretty solid. So. It looks good. We feel good about it, and today we addressed some things defensively with the infielders. We brought them out early, and, we've done a lot of things, and this last coming week we're going to have to just review everything to make sure we're ready to go.
A lot of good quality defensive first basemen in Rays history. You go back to Travis Lee and then Casey Kochman and Carlos Pena. Not many Rays fans have seen James Loney. What can you tell us about him?
Well, he's right there with him. Absolutely. Smooth, easy, doesn't panic, makes all the plays, is in position. He's been fine. What we've seen in spring training so far, and you hear a lot about it before he even came in, and he's lived up to what we've heard.
A little pop-up in the shallow right, and Kelly Johnson cannot quite make the play over his shoulder, so the ball falls in for a leadoff hit for Florimont. So the Twins have a leadoff base runner here in the third. Final question to Tom Foley. You mentioned Evan Longoria's health in the beginning. We know how that impacted him on the bases and offensively. How about defensively and laterally? Are you seeing a difference this spring?
I don't see any setbacks or holdbacks where you can't do one thing or the other. No, he looks fine. He's ready to go. He says his legs are good. Last year was maybe the inability to go as good as he could to his right, so shading towards the line a little bit. But for the most part now, no, he's healthy. Says he's 100%, and we're just looking forward to getting this thing going. We've been down here a while.
I figured those 10 days can't come any quicker, right? Hey, good job with the sunflower seeds and not being distracted.
I appreciate that.
All right, guys, back to you.
All right, Todd, thank you very much. Tom Foley, of course, not only the third base coach, but works with the defensive ends of things with the infielders. Here's Hicks jumping on the first pitch and lining a base hit. Little set runners at first and second now for the Twins.
Yeah, Dwayne, we talk about managers, we talk about players. Sometimes we forget about the coaches and all the time that they put in. Hicks right there getting a fastball middle in and lining it in the left field. But, coaches, my goodness, they're here before the ball players. They stay after. You want any extra hitting, you want some tips here or there, they're always there. They go unappreciated sometimes.
They certainly do, and they sort of the unsung heroes the way scouts have been in this game for a long time.
Exactly.
Brian Dozier. Todd was talking there with Tom Foley about the defensive end of things, and the thought occurred to me that because of all the shifts the Rays employ, it's a little different. I mean, particularly because there's so many multi-position players defensively. So to sort out where you need to be, sometimes you're going to be a relay guy, sometimes you're not, depending on the shift and where you're playing.
Yeah, the last couple of years, the Rays have put on a lot of the shifts. So if you're Kelly Johnson, you're coming from another organization, where am I? I'm up the middle, but what if the ball is hit to me?
Longoria strike down to second for the out there, and a quick look toward third by Johnson. No play there, and it's first and third on the fielder's choice.
Yeah, the ball not hit hard enough really for Longoria or Johnson to try to turn the double play. Your opportunity here, you see Longoria come in. Make sure you get one and a good feed over to Johnson. Johnson really had no chance because of that softly hit ball to get Dozier at first. So Twins do have runners at the corners with one out.
You know, Foley mentioned Longoria being injured last year and how that upset the defense, and it did because they were trying to replace him with players that they would pick up and maybe play out of position. Josh Willingham, and he takes a strike. The other thing, that feed to second by Longoria, it's one of the reasons he's a Gold Glove third baseman. It's hard for me to think of another third baseman. I'd have to go back to Mike Schmidt, who consistently delivered feeds to second base the way Longoria does.
Well, Beltre with the Texas Rangers pretty good too.
Yes, he is. Yep.
I think those two are kind of above a lot of other third basemen. I think what you're going to see David Price right here really try to bear down. 205 strikeouts last year, 6th most in the American League. This is where, as a pitcher, a strikeout pitcher, you want to get that strikeout, especially a guy like Willingham. The guy's got power. You can drive in a lot of runs, but he's also a strikeout victim.
It's going to be a foul ball.
Even though it's spring training, this is where you get yourself mentally and physically ready to get out of this situation. He's ahead in the count, 1 ball, 2 strikes. We're going to see, I think, David Price really try to find that strikeout pitch right here.
And Bert, do you think, you know, they're 10 days out now, and it's been a long spring training, especially the last week or 2 of spring training. You really get into those situational circumstances.
You try to early on, but your body just isn't ready for it. Now it's more the mental and the physical part. You're ready for it. Most of the players are ready for the season to start. Takes pitchers a little bit longer, only because of building that arm strength up. I remember in spring training the first 2 or 3 weeks, my legs would kill me because I was a distance runner, and you can do all the distance you want prior to spring training, but it's not the PFPs, the pitching fielding practice, all the standing around, and then you go run the next day. You can barely get out of bed. And that's when I was 19.
2-2.
Imagine what I was when I was 41. They wheeled me to the ballpark. Well, he tried the fastball down and in, then he tried the changeup right there, and now instead of 1 and 2, now he's at 3 and 2 to a dangerous hitter in Josh Willingham. See if he goes to the fastball or maybe tries the breaking ball here. And he does.
And it's a strike 3 call, and on the move, Dozier safely in at second. So Willingham takes the off-speed pitch in there for strike 3.
That's a good pitch right there. That's a strikeout pitch. 3-2. Look at that pitch right there. And Price not worried about the runner at first. He's concentrating right there on getting that strikeout, and he's able to do that. That's a good pitch.
Now Ryan Doman, 2 men in scoring position here in the third now with 2 outs. Doman swinging over that pitch.
Yeah, the good changeup right there. Good location. That's a changeup you were talking about before that Price has worked so hard at. Probably a circle change. What you want is that ball coming out of your hand that looks like a fastball, but it just comes in. That last pitch at 84, his fastball at 91 to 93. Sometimes quicker as he gets looser. Good breaking ball there.
And he quickly is ahead of Doman. Let's take a look at that first pitch.
Look at the location, okay? That's what makes it right there. Good downward plane. Doman way out front. And again, it's a spring training game, but if David Price gets out of this inning right here, this is a good job.
And he does. He strikes out Doman. He got Willingham looking. Doman swinging. And the Twins lead 2. Middle of the third. 1-0 Minnesota. David Price's stellar 2012 season earned him the American League Cy Young Award. Watch him defend his title throughout the season. And on Saturday, April 6th, the first 20,000 fans will receive a David Price Cy Young figurine presented by the Tampa Bay Times.
Well, what a year David Price had last year, 20-5. You know, when you think about the Rays, you think, of course, David Price winning the Cy Young. But as a staff overall in 2012, they led the major leagues with a combined 3.19 earned run average. And David Price had runners at first and second, first and third, able to get out of the situation. So a good piece of hitting right there by Price. He did give up a run in the second inning, but he got out of a jam in the third.
David, leading up to his Cy Young season last year when he went 20-5, 2 years prior to that, in 2010, he was 19-6 with a 272. And the following year, he was 12-13 with a 349. Lobaton lifting a fly ball deep into left. Ramirez goes to the track. That ball is gone. Home run, opposite field into left center off the bat of Lobaton.
Yeah, Lobaton just got that ball airborne right there. Again, with the wind blowing out to left field. We've seen some balls hit the right field, kind of shift towards center. But this one to left center. Ramirez out in left field. He looked like he was going to go chase after it and then just kind of stopped because he saw that ball just keep drifting over the fence.
Lobaton's first home run of the spring, and this game is tied 1-1. Kelly Johnson takes a strike. In regard to Price, when he went 12-13 in 2011, there were some who wondered if maybe he'd gone backwards a little bit, and he had maintained even through that year, even with a higher ERA, that he pitched better that year than he did the year before.
Yeah, high ERA at 3.4.
Yeah.
You know, that's unbelievable. That's in today's market, my goodness. That's why he's making the big bucks, believe me. 34 starts, 224 innings when he won only 12 ball games. It just shows you how hard it is to win a major league game. Yeah. You know, I mean, he had all the cards dealt to him the right last year. 20 wins, only 5 losses. But, you know, like he said, he probably pitched, if not better, the previous year, but he had 12 wins. And then the so-called experts saying, what's wrong with him?
Yeah.
Well, nothing.
2-2 the count to Kelly Johnson.
Kelly Johnson, a newcomer to the Rays this year. His 8th major league season, signed by the Rays in February.
And Bert, he's one of these guys who he's come over here. You know, he's played a little shortstop. He played second base, some at third, and he's going to play all over the place here. He's been in the outfield at times, and he will be. He'll spend a lot of time at second, but that's not the only place he will play defensively.
He's got some pop in his bat. You know, over 100 home runs at the major league level. Career 255 hitter. Then again, it just seems like the Rays, Dwayne, you've seen it over the years, they get these type of players in the organization that are so you know, able to play so many different positions.
Yeah, that's, as we know, by design between Andrew Friedman and their baseball office and all the people there, and Joe Madden and his staff. They look for those kinds of players. And I think from the beginning, Madden understood that in this size of market, he was going to have to do something to create depth. And versatility helps create depth, and he's been a master at that.
Well, I think Joe Madden came from the Angel organization too, where they have a lot of that in their organization with switch hitters that, you know, the eye bars, the Sean Figgins when he was there, played so many different positions. Nice to have. And George Hendricks wants no part of that foul ball down that first baseline.
No, he's got more important things to do, and that's chatting up Bill Welke down there, the first base umpire. He says, I'm not going to chase the foul ball.
No.
George, one of the great guys to have on a club as part of the staff. He is just the best. And Johnson draws a walk. Well, the first time through the lineup, Correa had made he'd had 3 full counts on the various hitters the first time through, and he gives up his second walk.
Yeah, pitch count's so important in today's game. The first 2 innings he threw 35 pitches, so you'd like to have an inning where you have 10 pitches in an inning to get out of it, so you get that down. But the walk, not a way to start the 3rd inning.
Well, here's Jennings, who started the bottom of the first getting down 2 strikes, and then he worked a 9-pitch at bat, worked the count full before he grounded out. First pitch strike to him again this time.
That's where Correa has to be, right there, down in the strike zone. Last year with the Pirates, 89 strikeouts in 171 innings. So not the strikeout pitcher that, say, a Price is. You see the movement right there on that 2-seamer, trying to get the ground ball. And here it is.
Down to short.
Just get one.
Get the out at second.
You're not going to get Jennings on that right there. The ball just was not hit hard enough. But Correa he is able to get the ground ball for the first out. And that's what you try to do as a pitcher. You walk that leadoff hitter, that puts a negative thought in your mind anyway, because Gene Mauch once told me 70% of all leadoff hitters seem to always score. It always seems like a big inning is always started by a leadoff walk. And as a pitcher, you know that. So, that next hitter, you have to get a ground ball out. You cannot afford to give up a base hit and put runners at first and third with nobody out. And, that's how those crooked numbers are put on the board.
1 strike to count as Zobrist fouls away the first pitch. Correa working here in the bottom of the 3rd, pitched 4 innings against the Marlins his last time out, and pitched into the 5th inning against Baltimore the time before that.
Yeah, it wasn't actually a leadoff walk to Kelly. I forgot about the home run.
Well, pitchers do.
Always. I forgot.
What home run?
430 times I forgot.
0-2 the count.
I always looked at you give up a home run, you make a fan. I mean,
yeah,
it got
toward
the game. Yeah, I got toward part of my ball game. Actually, my family wanted to sit out in the left field or right field, depending on who was up. I had my kids running from left to right. They got their exercise in when I was out on that mound.
You got to be good to give up that many home runs.
Yeah, it's sad when people ask for tickets and they said, "Oh, by the way, can you put me out in left field? You're pitching." Thanks a lot.
Correa's up in the count on Zobrist. 1-2, and it's not altogether unusual with Correa, because of the type of pitcher he is. If he gets ahead of a guy, he's not going to go right after him. He's going to take advantage of that 0-2 count.
Yeah, especially a guy like that's not to say the overpowering like a David Price who can throw 95, 96. You get ahead, that's your ultimate goal, and then hopefully they will hit your pitch. And he'd like Zobrist, like Jennings did, to beat the ball into the ground.
Twins scored a run in the 2nd inning. The Rays have a run in the 3rd. On a couple pitches now, Zobrist has laid off.
Yeah, you see good movement from Correa. That ball's just sailing away, so he is trying to throw that 2-seamer and get a ground ball out. Correa, 32 years old, originally signed by the San Francisco Giants. Grew up in the San Diego, California area.
Zobrist fouls that one right back.
He let that pitch up a little bit.
Out over the plate. Well, Correa's made close to 160 major league starts at this time.
He was kind of a swing man when he first came up with the Giants. Swing man meaning, you know, he would start a little bit and then be put out in the bullpen as a long man.
And he strikes out Zobrist. So that retires the side, or does it? Nope, it doesn't. Just 2 outs now. We're going to give him a little help. Let's
Are you
take a look
keeping
at that
score over there? Well, pitch up right there. Looked like there's something off speed. It was clocked here at 85, and Zobrist a little out front. So Correa picks up a big strikeout.
So a runner at first, 2 gone, and that's give Matt Joyce a chance here. 1-0. Lobatone homered, and then Johnson walked. He was forced at second by Jennings. Jennings at first. Zobrist out on strikes. One and one. Joyce up in the lineup today, hitting third against the right-hander, and more he would like to work his way into the lineup even against lefties. Matt last year would spot him against certain lefties. Behind in the count.
Sometimes left-handers come up. I remember the Twins had Jock Jones, and it seemed like Tom Kelly, would not play Jock Jones against lefties. And I remember talking to Jock one time, and he was kind of upset about it. I want to play against both righties and lefties. He did that at USC coming out of college and did it in the minor leagues, but all of a sudden, he couldn't hit lefties, and it becomes more of a mental thing sometimes than a physical thing. Numbers. They always look at numbers, but a guy could be 1 for 10 off of lefties, but he hit the ball hard 6 out of the 10 times. And to be honest with you, nice block right there by Domit on that low breaking ball. I want players like Scott on my team that want to play every day. Don't accept that, you can't hit left-handers. He wants to play every day. See Domit right there. Turn that glove around. Utilize his chest protector. Deaden the ball. And a lot of pitches for Kevin Correa. Too many pitches. 25 already here in the third.
And a full count to Joyce. So Jennings will get a break here off first base with 2 outs.
Correa stepping off. Domit now puts down the sign he wants.
A little popper handled by the shortstop Vorma. So that'll do it for Tampa Bay. The Rays get a run on the opposite field home run by Jose Lobatone. We're through 3, tied 1-1. The boardwalk here in Port Charlotte. This game is tied 1-1 through 3. We head to the 4th. Let's go down to the Twins dugout now. Dick Bramer standing by. Dick?
Thank you, Dwayne. With Twins pitching coach Rick Anderson. Rick, so far some encouraging innings from Kevin Correa.
Yeah, outstanding. You know, he's down in the zone a lot better. And as we were talking earlier, I says, you know, we're getting late in spring now. Now it's time these starters start tuning it up a little bit and getting after it. And today he's a lot better than he has been.
Twins fans are going to get to know Kevin Correa, Mike Pelfrey, and Vance Worley. You are too. What have you learned about those other two guys? And we'll start with Mike Pelfrey.
Well, you know, he's coming back, as we all know, from that Tommy John, and each outing he's getting better, and he has new things to learn each time out. You know, he's been out of the game for a year, and he's got some things he's getting. Last time out, he threw his curveball outstanding, and he found trust in that, and it's just getting trust in all his spots and in his arm slot and his pitches, and he's getting there. Each time out, he's better.
And Vance Worley went yesterday, and of course he's a young guy, some experience, of course, with the Phillies. Well, what should Twins fans expect from him?
Well, he's a battler, and he's a gamer, and he learned from some of the good ones over there in Philly. And you know, we all talked in terms of him being a little bit of a veteran. Well, he's only been in the big leagues a couple of years, and he's still learning. And he's another one that we had a long talk about getting after from the first inning. And let's go, it's getting time.
I know that one guy who's had his stock maybe be raised in your eyes is a guy who was with you last year, Samuel Deduno, who did so well in the WBC, but now a bit of a health issue. Update us on that.
Yeah, he tweaked his groin, and I think a lot of people saw that game in the rain, that final game in the World Classic, and he came in a little bit lame the other day. Yesterday, matter of fact, we were going to start him Sunday and get a chance to see it up close and personal, but we're going to push him back a little bit, and we're not sure we'll play day by day.
You'd like to be able to take the best 25 players north. Certainly you're looking for some new faces in the starting rotation. What about the bullpen, some new pitchers that might be part of the picture out of the pen this year for the Twins?
Well, we got some new ones. Josh Rennick, he pitched in big leagues. Colorado had a nice year for him last year, and you know, he's in the mix. We got a Tim Wood, who we'll see today. He's throwing after Correa, and you know, we got some guys out there, interesting arms, and you know, it's going to be fun. It's you know, as we said all the time, and every year, every spring, is competition's good. You know, last year bullpen was a strong point, but we got some guys pushing us a little bit this year, and which is a good thing.
Andy, thanks for the time. All right, let's get back upstairs to Dwayne and Bert.
All right, Dick, thank you very much. A little piece of that one foul, holding the count. 2 strikes on Mastroianni. Ramirez struck out to start this inning.
Well, you know, we talked about coaches a little bit, Dwayne. You know, pitching coaches. Hickey has done such a great job with so many great pitchers. And there's another strikeout for Price. Good fastball middle in. Getting Mastroianni for the second time in a ball game on strikes. But Rick Anderson, you know, so many new faces coming into spring training. By the time you get to know who they are, all of a sudden the season starts.
Yeah, and Rick's been the pitching coach there since 2002. And right in line with what had been the Twins' mantra about developing pitchers, and the idea is to develop command first. Those strikes, back up that with good defense.
Yeah, the same thing that Hickey, you know, pretty much preaches for the Rays is just what kind of talent do you have that can do that on a consistent basis. Well, the guy on the mound right now, he is consistent, and that's what you want out of a starting pitcher. There's Hickey.
He had a great run in Houston with the Astros, including taking a team to the World Series as the pitching coach over there back in 2005. And was here when the Rays went to the World Series in 2008. And he consistently has been around successful pitchers.
You know, I had a chance to be the pitching coach for the Netherlands team in 2009 and then also this last spring. And, you know, you have so many different makeups as far as pitchers. And it's more the mental game than sometimes the physical game, especially at this level. You know, spring training usually involves kids that can pitch at AA, AAA, and the big leagues. And they all have good stuff. It's more, do they believe in their stuff? You know, David Price, he always had good stuff. He was a #1 pick by the by the Rays back in 2007. He knew it early. Sometimes guys are unsure, even at the AA or major league level, can I get guys out at this level? And it takes time. And that's where a good pitching coach becomes more the mental than the physical part.
And you know, Price, here's a guy with a great arm. Sometimes guys with great arms fall in love with the idea of pitching. Price hasn't done that. He respects the arm he has, but he has fine-tuned all the other parts of the craft of pitching. And it's been fun to watch him do that. He's a bright kid. He works hard. He's got a great arm, and he can also pitch. I think we saw that last inning. He can pitch as well as utilize a strong
and that's
arm.
the key word, pitcher rather than just a thrower.
Yep. The other way, Zobrist will have to play it on a couple hops, and Rolfing has his second hit.
A good piece of hitting right there by Dan Rolfing. Got a base hit in his previous at-bat off of Price to left field and picked up the RBI. Here, he just kind of inside out at a pretty good breaking ball.
You know, he fouled off a fastball 2 pitches prior to stay alive, and then takes that breaking ball the other way for his second hit. Here's Eduardo Escobar. First pitch, fastball in for a strike.
Yeah, we have the pitch speed out in left center field, so we kind of see the speed. I know that the pitch that he struck out Ryan Doma to end last inning was 95. That went at 88, hit in the right field.
So Escobar is aboard. So a couple of 2-out singles following the strikeouts. 2 men on with 2 men out.
Now, I think what I'm getting to is David Price just doesn't throw 95, 95, 95. He'll throw one 92. He'll throw one all of a sudden if he needs to pump up a little bit. He'll find a little Bob Gibson extra. And then he'll throw an off-speed pitch, maybe at 84, 87 in that range. So the hitter cannot time him. Another reason that he's had so much success at the major league level. And that's pitching rather than throwing.
Pedro Flormon, the shortstop, the hitter. This one is away. Price had made 40 pitches through the first 3. Working on his 5th hitter here in the 4th inning.
Flormon, a switch hitter. Shortstop, outstanding defensive player. Question is, can he hit major league pitching? That'll be the question, I think, going into the season. Last year, Flormon got the call up. He got to play and end the season as a shortstop. 43 ball games, but hit only .219.
And it's 3-0. Flormon out of the Dominican Republic, but grew up a big fan of Omar Vizquel.
Why wouldn't you?
Yep. You're a shortstop. Why not? And now the bases are loaded. So the bottom 3 in the order reach for the Twins. Price gives up his first walk of the day. Bases loaded, 2 outs for the top of the order.
Yeah, Twins have been able to put base runners on. They have that 1-1 ball game. They have already had 7 hits against Price here with 2 outs in the 4th.
Well, this has turned out to be a big pitch inning, high pitch inning anyway for Price. He had made 11 pitches in the first 2 innings each, 22 total in those, 23 in this inning here in the 4th. And he starts with a breaking ball, and that's a strike.
Well, he remembered Hicks in his last at-bat. Start him with a fastball. Hicks got the base hit. They're the total right now, 24, 18 in the 3rd, equal to 64 right now. So he started him off with a breaking ball to get strike 1. That looked like the changeup at 87, just missing outside. We talked last inning, Dwayne, about working out of situations, running his 1st and 3rd, 1 out. You want to strike out. He's able to do that. You don't want to do this every inning. You want the 1-2-3 inning once in a while.
Now it's 2-1. Yeah, the pitch count runs up, and you'd like to get a breather here, a couple of innings in between, just to run through a 1-2-3 inning and let your teammates try to score some runs. Now he's behind in the count to Hicks. 3-1.
They tried the fastball inside, and Hicks jumped to get out of the way. Fastball at 94. Let's see if he stays with that fastball. He does, and he misses down and in.
It's going to force in the go-ahead run. All of this with 2 outs. Hicks walks, forcing Rolfing home. Escobar to third, Foreman up to second base.
You know, credit Rolfing for having that great at-bat. You mentioned he fouled off a pretty nasty pitch and then hit a pretty good pitch down that right field line, and it's mushroomed into a run right now for the Twins.
And Brian Dozier, who has a single and a stolen base in this game, 1 for 2. Speed pitch there, and that's a strike on the foul ball.
Yeah, good pitch right there. Of course, bases loaded. You just walk 2 guys. You would think he's going to throw a fastball to try to get ahead. He pulls his string and goes your way out front, and Price ahead in the count.
Longoria has a pop out of his glove, and he misses the tag. A run scores, and everybody is safe. You don't see that very often. The Twins will take advantage of this 2-out rally. A couple of hits, a couple of walks, and now the misplay.
Yeah, the little short hop right here. Watch Longoria come in, try to get the short hop. It just kind of clanked it right there. Tried to tag the runner, but missed. Florimon, as he kind of ran around him and able to keep that hand on the bag.
So it's a 2-run deficit now for Price and the Rays, as the Twins have taken advantage and scored 2. There's Willingham, big run producer up here. 1-0 the count. Arm shot foul. 1-1. That error on Longoria, the first he has committed this spring. 20th error of the year committed by the Rays, and most of those errors have been made by players who are no longer in camp. Escobar has made a couple. Longoria now 1, and nobody else on the field right now has made an error all year, all spring.
They don't want to get sent down.
1-2. Breaking ball to Willingham.
Willingham, this will be his second season with the Twins. What a year he had last year. Hit 35 home runs, drove in 110 runs, both career highs. Last 2 seasons between Oakland and Minnesota, 64 home runs Willingham has been able to hit, and drove in over 200 runs. Signed with the Twins as a free agent, a 3-year contract.
To the count. And Price gets him. Price strikes out the side, but in between, the Twins take the lead with 2 more, 3-1. Other favorite Florida sports teams. Join the conversation online with our Fox Sports Florida girls, Jordana and Annie Lee. Like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter and Instagram. Beautiful afternoon here in Port Charlotte. Rays coming into bat in the bottom of the fourth. The Twins with 2 in the top of the inning. A prolonged inning for David Price. 35 pitches in that inning. So Ron Gardenhire's club has a 2-run lead.
Yeah, both starting pitchers, Correa and Price, need some quick innings. Price already was 75 pitches. He needed 35 pitches to get out of that fourth inning. And Correa right now 61 pitches with 3 innings worth of work.
Longoria, Scott, and Escobar 2 up against him. Longoria doubled his first time. Rays have 2 hits and the Twins have 7. It's 2-0. This is the 5th and final meeting of the spring between the Rays and the Twins. The Rays have gone 3-1 against the Twins this spring. And the Wednesday game last rained out. Longoria walks on 4 straight pitches. See, the Twins will come to Tropicana Field in July 8th through the 11th. And the Rays don't make a trip to Target Field until the middle of September.
Yeah, I was just looking at that. That's what I was looking up to see when the Rays do come to Target Field. And it's the weekend of September 13th, 14th, and 15th.
Well, that's very nice fall-like weather by then. It'll be beautiful.
Yes, it will.
Luke Scott, first pitch strike.
I'd like to still see baseball go back to at least, you play every team, whether no matter what league you're in, at least 12 times. I think, now they'll play them 7 times this year. I don't know how you feel about that, Dwayne, but we don't see enough of the Rays.
Scott off the mid and Wolfing, and a great effort right there by Dozier.
Wow.
And the toss to Correa. Boy, that is great defensive play out of Dozier.
Unbelievable play by Dozier, who was backing up the play. See the ball hit off the glove right there. Here comes Dozier. He doesn't give up on it. Little back flip with Correa becoming the first baseman. Get a better look right here. Watch Dozier. Did he do it between his legs like Burley did that one?
I'm telling you, that is some play.
That is an outstanding defensive play by Brian Dozier.
Between the legs, and that's why you never give up on a play.
I think we're going to get another look. Watch Dozier right here. Watch him between the, yes, between and right to the pitcher Correa. Wow. Now, during the season, that would be on every highlight reel. And hopefully in spring training, that also will be on tonight's highlight reel.
Very deserving.
Yes.
Want to know the count to Escobar. He shoots it toward the gap. Ramirez closes and cannot come up with it. To the wall. Longoria will score from second base and into second Escobar. And it's a 3-2 ball game.
Yeah, Ramirez getting an opportunity to get some playing time, and that ball looked like that ball should have been caught. It was a line drive. Ramirez went over to his left. The ball hit sharply. And Escobar giving it a ride, but Ramirez right there. Well, the ball just got by him pretty quickly.
And the Rays have 3 hits. 2 doubles and the home run by Lobaton. The 2 doubles, you could argue, were catchable. James Loney.
And again, we're sitting up here in the booth.
That's right. The great thing about the game, the farther away from the action you get, the easier it appears.
Easier it looks, yeah. Now, if I was out there, I would have played it off the wall right off the get-go.
Get a good carom and throw him out.
I hope so.
Little looper toward the line. That's fair. Escobar heads home. Loney heads into second. And he's safely in there. This game is tied.
They kind of got jammed right there, but hit that ball, a little flare into left field, right in the right spot. And he got the barrel of the bat out, just hit softly down that line. Into no man's land, and that ties the game at 3.
Loney picking up a 2-base hit. His 4th run batted into the spring, and now Lobaton. Jose Lobaton homered into left center in the 3rd. That's a strike. Three runs, 4 hits for the Rays. 3 runs, 7 hits for the Twins. A looper to center. That will fall. Loney was waved around. Now the ball bobbled, and now he's going to score. He had put on the brakes and restarted and scores. The Rays take the lead.
Yeah, Tom Foley at one time held him up, and then he saw that Hicks had trouble getting the ball. Then he told him to keep going. Kind of right off the end of the bat right here. Hit softly in front of Hicks. Now Loney, you know, you pick up your coach right there. Foley did hold him up, and then he told him, and then he waved him in, which was the right move. You hold him up because, you know, Loney doesn't have the best of speed. But once Hicks booted the ball, then he sent him home. Rays take a 1-run lead.
So Longoria, Escobar, and Loney have scored. The Twins with a full-scale conference on the mound. Just like that, a 3-run inning. Well, that's that leadoff walk that you talked about earlier. You opened an inning with a walk, and Longoria walked, and now
again, both starters, a lot of pitches thrown. Tim Wood, you see right there. Looks like he's ready to come in the ball game by the hat by look like Bobby Cuellar down there saying that he's ready if need be. Bobby Cuellar, the bullpen coach, taking over for Rich Dalmasic, who I believe was the longest tenure coach. I believe 32 years Rich Dalmasic was with the Twins and in baseball. Lobaton getting a base hit, and then the error by Hicks.
Johnson, a ground ball second. Dozier, Foreman over to first. So Correa throws the 4-6-3 double play. The Rays come out of that with 3 runs and a 4-3 lead. And Todd Kalas talks with Joe Madden when we return.
head to target field.
Rays have taken a 4-3 lead over the Twins. Game heads into the 5th inning, so David Price will go back to the mound now with a lead. Let's check in with Todd Callis standing by with Joe Madden.
How you, Dwayne? Joe going without the hat. Good look for you with the new shaved head.
Yeah, it's got to get some sun on the dome right now. It's the rock of the dome needs some sun.
Before we talk about your offense, putting up a 3 spot in the 4th, what about David? He had, I think, 40 pitches through 3 and had a little bit of a balloon last inning where he threw 35.
Yeah, going really well. 2 outs, nobody on, 2 strikes on a hitter, and all of a sudden they get a couple runs. That's something you're not going to see happen very often this year. Physically, he's fine. The stuff is good. Again, just off a little bit with the command on different pitches, but overall he's fine.
He had that shortened outing last time because of the rain. What are you looking at with him? Is this maybe his last inning?
Well, we were thinking about 90 pitches pretty much, and I think he's starting this out within the low 70s. So if he gets up to 90 this inning, I've given Hick the go-ahead because it's a TV game. Go ahead and pull him.
Jim Hickey will make the decision, or he'll make the mound visit if necessary.
I mean, it's all about Hickey right now.
Ground ball past Escobar into left field for a leadoff hit. And the Twins have the first base runner here in the 5th. Let's talk about your lineup, Joe. You've tried some different lineups there at the top recently. We've seen Ben Zobrist in front of Matt Joyce and the other way around in front of Longoria. Are you just kind of getting a look at what it looks like for you?
Yeah, I mean, there's different thoughts. And the biggest thing for me is to try to set up Longo and protect Longo. That's primary. And then beyond that, of course, you want to try to keep other guys in the games and prevent pinch hitting or having to pinch hit guys who want to stay in the game longer. So it just takes a little bit of thought how to set that whole thing up. Traditionally, you do some data research regarding 3- and 4-hole hitters and see which one of those two gets the most opportunities to drive in runs. And historically, it's been the 4-hole hitter by a lot, actually. So, but then again, there's maybe against righties we could do a certain thing, maybe against lefties something else. Final point is that we're just trying to look at a whole bunch of different things, look at some information as well as our personnel.
So optimize based on data Longoria's RBI potential, but at the same time using the eyeball test of what you like at the top.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, just looking at what happens in baseball, the 4-hole hitter gets most ops to drive in points. Okay, that you know that. But then you have to have 3 guys that you like in front of him. And so I think we do. Like, you look at the lineup today, having Jennings, Zobrist, and Joyce in front of him, that's kind of nice. But then the issue would be, can you protect him on the backside? And if you can, then you can do something like that.
Bottom of your lineup looks a lot thicker. The rally there last inning, you've got Escobar, then you've got Loney, then the catcher, and then Johnson. Is that how you may see it line up during the season? And what do you like about the bottom of that line?
It's possible. The thing I really like about it...
Ball hit well to right.
It's crushed.
Zobrist going way back through the wind, and it bounces. Zobrist bare hands it before it gets to the wall, and the Twins have 2nd and 3rd to start the 5th.
What I like about it is with Loney and Escobar in the middle, if you notice, they're more of a contact hitters. Yep. They're going to move the baseball a bit more often. What I like about Kelly's got some power, but he also runs well. And if you hit him 9th, just if that were to happen, if you hit him 9th in front of Jennings, then he bleeds over into Jennings, number 2, number 3, number 4, which is kind of nice with all of his baseball skills on the bases. He's a very good base runner. So just trying to, again, piece it all together, contact in the middle. Kelly will strike out a little bit, but he'll also walk like he's always demonstrated today already. So there's different things we could look at as we piece the whole thing together. But I do like Kelly's abilities in that particular spot.
And we saw the contact that you mentioned, Loney, the other way. Didn't get a lot of it, but just dropped it in.
Yeah, you got actually the runner wasn't on 3rd at that time. But yes, the runner on 3rd, less than 2 outs, he's going to move the baseball. I believe runner on 3rd, less than 2 outs, Escobar is going to move the baseball. And that's something if you look at last year, probably the last couple of years in general. Sometimes we have swung and missed maybe a little bit too often in those moments. So situationally, we have a chance to be better. Here we go. It's really unusual with the contact play with nobody out. We'll take it.
Contact play, nobody out, runner breaking from 3rd, not from 2nd.
Yeah, the runner should have known at 2nd base if they were doing that at 3rd base. Thus, if that were to happen, they should have runners at least at 1st and 3rd. If you could stay in the rundown long enough, then you could come back to 2nd and 3rd. But we'll take that play right there.
Yeah, somebody missed the side. A lot of times you talk about spring, things work out for you once the spring evolves. And this year, maybe the toughest decision, your 5th starter, if anything, everybody who had a chance to make the roster is pitching lights out. It's making your decision very difficult.
Yeah, they've all been doing a nice job. I think it's been a really good camp overall. More recently, we just haven't hit the ball like we can, but we will. We're doing different things on defense, moving guys around, trying different positioning. It's new to some of the guys. But when it comes down to the pitching, for the most part, almost everybody's throwing the ball well this camp, so it has become more difficult. We don't even call it a fifth starter. Whoever wins that job would be one of our 5 starters. Yep. And then at that point, we can set up the rotation as we see fit. And not just for the first time around, but you got to look at the first month and even maybe beyond that a little bit too, and see what it matches up or looks like again without a rain out. So, yeah, we just try to figure out all these different things, so it's not as simple as it looks on the surface.
Final thing before Jim Hickey gets his TV time. What about the trek that your lovely bride is making? She is nearing the Panhandle, is that correct?
Yeah, Jay was, she's spent the night in Lafayette, Louisiana. She's gone to Mesa, Arizona, Las Cruces, New Mexico, San Antonio, and then last night, Lafayette. So she's trying to make it into, I think, Pensacola possibly today, and then into Tampa the next day. Really proud of her, man. I mean, her and her 2 boys have done a great job. She's done pretty much 90% of the driving to this point also, yeah. And the dogs have cooperated. I can't believe that Winston's cooperating. So really proud of what she's doing. I don't even know how much money we've raised to this point, but I think it's pretty cool.
We're going to give the website petanimalshelter.com if you want to donate for that trek across the country. And if you follow Winston on Twitter, it's Winston C. Madden, at Winston C. Madden.
It's Winston Churchill Madden first. And if we do dare to get another one, female, the next time, do you know what Winston Churchill's wife's first name was?
Do not.
It was Clementine. That'd be a great name for an English Bulldog.
Joe, as always, great talking a variety of topics with you.
Yeah, buddy, my pleasure. Thank you.
All right, guys, back to you.
All right, thank you very much. That's a 2,600-mile cross-country trek by Jay Madden she's on.
That's awesome.
There's a strike. 7 count is full.
Listening to Joe Madden talk about the ball club sounded like my accountant. My goodness. I mean, all the database and all that stuff, you know, I mean, that's just for today's game. Imagine during the season.
It's every day.
Go through, yes.
When he goes through the lineup and tries to figure it out. Rolfing is out on strikes this time. He had picked up a couple of hits and really started that 2-run rally for the Twins in the 4th inning. Here's the second out of the inning here in the 5th. Still Twins runners at first and second for Eduardo Escobar.
Like the way Joe Madden picked up that error right away by the base runner Ramirez. If the contact play was on, he should have been on his way to third. Madden picked it up right away. Somebody missed the sign.
Zobrist takes care of that fly ball. We go to the bottom of the 5th, 4-3 Rays. And Dick Bramer talks with Ron Gardenhire when we return. Saturday baseball returns with 3 great matchups. Angels outfielder Josh Hamilton returns to Texas to take on the Rangers, or the Yankees battle the defending AL champion Tigers, or the Cardinals take on the World Series champion Giants in a rematch of the NLCS. The debut of Fox Saturday baseball is April 6th. Bottom half of inning 5 coming. The Rays lead the Twins 4-3. Top of the order for the Rays here against Kevin Correa. Right now, let's go down to Dick Bramer with Ron Gardenhire.
Well, thank you, Dwayne Gardy. We talked with Rick Anderson about the pitching staff. Let's go through some of the position players and how things have shaped up in camp for you. And let's start out in center field, because it sure looks like Aaron Hicks has had a very good spring. Yeah, he's been playing fantastic, swinging good. He's a confident young man. He doesn't seem to get too high and too low, and you know, he pays attention, so he's played very, very well. And then I know one of the other objectives you were hoping to take care of during spring training is solidifying the middle infield. And to that end, how have Pedro Florimon and Brian Dozier done? Well, I think they've been fantastic out there together. Dozier looks so much more relaxed on that side. We know Flory can catch the ball, and those two together out there have been spectacular. They've made great plays and caught the routine ones. And so, you know what, it's you know, that's what it's all about. We've got to throw the ball over better, and we've got to catch it. And you just see Hicks run one down out there out of nowhere. That's what I'm talking about. Let's talk specifically about Dozier, because that's a transition that you had to make in your career, shortstop over to second base. What's the biggest challenge for him? Well, at shortstop, you're seeing everything right in front of you, and the runners are coming towards you. Second base, you're actually running away from everything you're used to, and that's going towards first base. So, you know, the line of sight and, you know, around the bag, the pivots, and you know, it's a different view of the game. People say it's easier. I don't know about that. I liked it right in front of me when I was at shortstop, and you know, like I said, it's a different view, but he's really, really done well. Trevor Plouffe has had his spring training hampered because of a bit of an injury. First of all, physically, how is he? And then what do you expect from him this year? You know, physically, he's doing fine. He's finally got his legs back underneath. He's had a couple of injuries to the same calf, and I think we've hopefully got that under control now. He's been swinging the bat good, and he's moving a lot better defensively. So now, you know, hopefully this last week we'll be able to get him out on the field consistently, and we'll go from there. And then to finally talk about two guys who are not with you here today. In fact, they've been gone a lot in spring training, but two of the mainstays in your lineup. First of all, Joe Mauer, and what the WBC experience did for those guys in terms of getting them ready for the season. Yeah, Joe, I think he only caught 2 games while he was at, you know, at that thing, and 2 9-inning games at that. So we're kind of, you know, we got back over here, and we're, you know, giving him 5 and 6 innings, and he'll be ready. You know, definitely swinging great. And Morney, the same thing. Morney came back ready to go, and he felt real comfortable. He feels real comfortable playing. He's had plenty of at-bats, the whole package. So both those guys actually came out of it pretty good. And it seems like in Justin's case, night and day between where he was a year ago at this point and where he is this year. Yeah, you're exactly right. It's night and day. He feels great. He's moving good. You know, he's been really taking care of himself. He lifted this winter. His body, like I said, he didn't have to rehab anything this winter, and that goes along with Joe, too. So that's a good thing. All right, Gardy, thanks for the time. All right, thanks, Dick. All right, back upstairs.
All right, thank you very much. One out with the bases empty. Ben Zobrist, the hitter, down 0-2 for Kevin Correa.
Yeah, bases empty thanks to Aaron Hicks. What a great running catch out in left center field. Went all the way to the warning track. Made a great catch for the first out.
And the Twins have made 2 great defensive plays in the last couple of innings here. One by Dozier and the other by Hicks. 2 of the primary topics for Ron Gardenhire in that discussion with Dick Bramer. 2-2 now, the count to Zobrist. Zobrist, like Mauer, and the discussion that Ron Gardner was having about the Twins who were in the WBC getting enough work and maybe not enough at times. Zobrist coming back from that, and he felt that he got plenty of at-bats and is right where he wants to be.
Yeah, you know, being part of the WBC and seeing what everyday players were able to do, even though, you know, we didn't play every day, there were off days, so much batting practice. You know, pitchers were able to, you know, the pitchers that I had that were with major league clubs, whether they were all in the minor league, these pitchers I had, but I made sure that they were on the routine that they would be if they were in spring training. Pitch counts as is important in WBC as it is here.
Zobrist lifts it to left with the wind blowing out, and Ramirez hit the track, started to feel for the fence out there, and makes the catch. 2 away.
And Ron Gardenhire coming out. Correa right at that 90 mark, I'm sure, just like David Price was. He ended up with 91 pitches. It looks like Tim Wood, who has been warming up in the bullpen, might be coming in.
So Correa will depart. So he works 4 2/3, and we'll be back with a new pitcher in a moment. Kevin Correa works 4 2/3, 85 pitches.
Yeah, you know what? I think what he showed here, and Rick Anderson kind of touched on it with Dick Bramer about, hey, keep the ball down, make good things happen. A lot of movement from the pitches of Kevin Correa. So 4 2/3 innings, he did give up 4 runs. All of them should be 1 unearned, but he got his work in, and that's the main thing that you want out of spring training. So a lot of people are saying, if you have a 6 or 7 ERA, should you be concerned about starters? Especially, you could have 1 bad inning where you give up 4 or 5 runs. Correa did give up the 3 runs in the bottom of the 4th inning. Other than that, I thought he threw the ball well. Is he ready for opening day? I think 1 more start. He pitched 85 pitches. Maybe his next outing, if he can get to 90, 95 pitches in 5 or 6 innings, he should be ready for opening day. Here's Tim Wood. Tim Wood coming out of the bullpen. Kind of the Pittsburgh connection right now. Correa was with the Pirates last year. Tim Wood spent a little time with the Pittsburgh Pirates last year in his first season with the Twins. Hard-throwing right-hander, sinker-slider type pitcher.
And Matt Joyce swings and misses that fastball down, strike 1. Tim Wood originally was a drafted follow pick by the Marlins. Spent some time in their system and got to the big leagues in 2009 with the Marlins. And he's quickly ahead of Joyce, 2 strikes.
Yeah, Tim Wood, 30 years old. Born in Tucson, Arizona.
Ooh, that looked like a pretty good pitch there. And it's 1-2. And he gets Joyce. Good work right there. We've gone through 5. From Port Charlotte, it's 4-3 Tampa Bay. 4-3, the Rays lead. We go to the top of the 6th. Right now, let's check in with Todd Callis, who's standing by with David Price.
Dwayne, thanks. David, you got to work out of the stretch a lot today. It looked like he threw some good breaking balls in those situations. What did he like overall today, and what did he feel like didn't go as well as you had hoped?
I like my breaking ball. I just didn't like giving up 9 hits. It's never fun, and it doesn't matter if you go 9 innings. That's never what you want to do. You want to try and pitch the contact, but not that good. So that's still a work in progress.
About half the hits were flares to right, to be fair to you, but also that 4th inning, was that the one that frustrated you, that 2-out, nobody on situation?
Oh, yeah, it's frustrating. You get the first 2 guys out and then give up 2 hits and then walk 2 guys, and I made it up for myself.
What do you want? You have one more start left before the season. What do you want to work on in that last start? Get ready for opening day.
Getting ready for opening day. That's what I want to do. It's just go out there, throw all my stuff, and pitch like I'm going to pitch in the regular season.
Did that last start have any impact on you, that shortened start with the rain?
I don't think so. I feel fine. My body feels fine, so I'll just keep working.
Quite an offseason for you, David. You win the Cy Young, you win the Pro-Am and the Disney golf event. 2K13 cover guy. And Astros now a giveaway bobblehead. What of all those things was the most fun in this offseason?
Probably the Cy Young. Taking my whole family out to New York and receiving that award. That was a lot of fun.
And you've named the award already, is that correct? Clarence? Yeah. Dave, I appreciate the time, and we look forward to you on opening day. Thanks, buddy. All right, guys, back to you.
All right, thank you very much. David Price works 5 innings. 5 innings here for Price.
I thought he got a very good workout in, and that's the main thing for David Price. As he mentioned, he wants to get ready for opening day, so his next outing will be a tune-up. No matter if he pitches good or bad, you can see at 91 pitches in 5 innings, a little bit on the high side. He wasn't happy giving up 9 hits, but you know what? You got a good workout in, and that's the main thing. He said he feels fine after his performance. Jim Padouche coming into the ballgame. Those are his numbers last year in AAA. A lot of those coming as a starter. 21 starts in Durham.
Aaron Hicks. 1-1 to count for him, and grounded out to short. Brian Dozier will be next.
First time we get to see Hicks this afternoon now as a left-handed hitter. Against David Price, of course, as a right-hander.
Back into center. That will be out. Number 2.
You can see that wind again affecting a lot of the fly balls. Jennings out in center field just kind of kept drifting back, and made the catch for the second out.
So with 2 outs in the 6th, here's Dozier. This one is down. 1 ball, no strikes. Two and 0 the count. Dozier singled in the first. Reached on a fielder's choice and stole a base in the 3rd. Reached on Longoria's error back in the 4th inning. He's up in the count now. 3-0. And there's ball 4.
Yeah, Padouche, he's 30 years old. He'll be 31 in November. But here's a guy that signed with the Reds originally and then kind of was out of baseball, played independent baseball, and then signed by the Rays in 2011 out of the independent league. A guy that never gave up on his hopefully potential, and that's hopefully one day get to the big leagues. He signed back in 2005.
Willingham.
I think, Dwayne, sometimes that's overlooked too. We as fans, we always look at the major league level, but you forget sometimes that, hey, there's some guys like Jim Padouche that spend 7, 8, 9 years just hoping to get that one shot at the major league level. And all the hard work, all the bus rides, everything that comes along with being a minor leaguers.
They're fun in one way, but you don't want to do it forever.
No, not when maybe when you have a family and you're trying to support a family. And oh, by the way, I have to go from Iowa into Canada on a 16-hour bus ride.
2-0 the count to Willingham. Leslie Anderson's now in left field. Rays have made some defensive switches. We'll complete those in a moment. And a shot to left, well hit. Anderson makes the catch on the track, and that will retire the side. Ball game heads into the bottom of inning 6. One-run game, 4-3 Tampa Bay. Rays are ready for another exciting season in 2013. Experience it with Rays season tickets to get the best seats, biggest savings, and exclusive benefits throughout the year. There are a variety of plans to choose from with flexible payment options available. Absolutely gorgeous afternoon in Port Charlotte. The Rays and the Twins have a 4-3 ball game going. Young lady enjoying the day. Evan Correa worked forward 2/3. Tim Wood came on and took care of Matt Joyce in short order. And as we go to the bottom of the 6th, Evan Longoria will lead off. Be followed by Luke Scott.
I mentioned when Tim Wood came in, he's a sinker slider type pitcher. Wood at 30 years old.
Longoria takes that pitch for a strike. Well, we've seen him make 5 pitches since he came into this game, and he's made 5 good pitches. A liner down to third, and Nate Hansen, who's just in the game, takes care of that.
Yeah, a soft line drive right there, right off the end of bat of Longoria. Longoria not happy at that at bat. Probably thought he should have hit that slider a little bit harder for the first out.
And now Luke Scott.
This is always a fun part of spring training when clubs start to bring in everybody and all the changes.
Scott takes it wide, 1-0. So that's your idea of fun. I know better.
I'm easy to please.
Escobar's moved over to second base. He started the day at third. So with Hansen at third, Escobar's at second. And Scott hits the ball to short. Over at first, Colabello. Chris Colabello is now playing first, and he takes care of the throw.
I have number 96 at short.
According to my roster, that would be Jason Christian. So that's what we're going to go with right now. Well, Escobar at the plate for Tampa Bay, and a base hit driven through the hole. an aggressive turn. It draws a throw back to first. So a 2-out single puts Escobar aboard. James Loney will bat.
Yeah, Loney got the RBI double in the fourth, right down that left field line, the inside-out swing. Later scored.
So right now he's the difference in the game. Scored the go-ahead run after driving in the tying run. Runs, 3 earned off Correa. Escobar is back in at first. Twins scored a run in the first. The Rays got a run in the third. Twins 2 in the fourth, and the Rays 3 in the fourth. It to right, and that is out number 3. Through 6, 4-3, Tampa Bay leading Minnesota. Four-3 ball game. The Rays lead the Twins. Final meeting of the spring between these two clubs. Other defensive changes now for the Rays. David Price worked the front 5. And around the infield, Mike Fontenot is going to take over for Evan Longoria at third. Cole Figueroa is in there at shortstop, replacing Escobar. Loney's been removed in favor of Shelley Duncan at first base. Ryan Doman will lead off the 7th.
Jim Paduch back on that mound for his second inning of relief.
The pitch is a strike. The Rays have Leslie Anderson in left. Jason Bourgeois in center. John Rodriguez out in right field. It's going to fall just outside the left field line. 0-2. You see a lot of these replacements here in this game in the 6th and 7th innings for the Rays. That's another thing. Joe Maddon said that this is the best group of players he's had since he's been manager of the Rays, and I think one of the reasons he feels that way, they have greater depth than they've had. That was a concern last spring, breaking camp. If somebody got hurt, where would they go? And saw how devastating the injuries they sustained, especially the one to Longoria. Doman is going to be safe at first after not realizing that the ball had popped away. Doman on an 0-2 count had that ball pop away from Lobatone and reaches on a strikeout.
Yeah, Doman swung and missed, and then realized that this breaking ball did get away from the catcher, and then hustled down the first.
Now Drew Butera is going to run at first for Doman.
Yeah, Dwayne, you know, you win with 25 guys on your roster, and then, of course, you're going to need guys in AAA. But, you know, if you're a manager and you're able to look on that bench and say, okay, in the 7th inning in a, say, the 6-1 ball game, I can replace, you know, my outfielder that needs a break with this guy that I'm not losing anything. And that's nice to have.
First, Colabello, who entered the game at first base and hits out of the spot originally occupied by Wilkin Ramirez. One and one to count. Well, that's where that versatility goes to depth. And the Rays feel that they've made a step in the right direction in the depth department.
We mentioned the WBC earlier. Calaballo was part of that Italian team with Drew Butera, who's pinch running for Doman at first base.
Now they may put on a play in Italian. Snap throw down to first just in case. Three-1 to count. Mastriani's on deck. And ball 4. So a strikeout. Wild pitch allowing the runner to reach, and now the walk. 2 men on with nobody out.
Right fielder number 19, Darren Mastriani.
And here is Darren Mastriani. And this is taking on an Italian flair. Butera at second, Colabello at first. Mastriani in the batter's box. Foul ball for a strike.
Yeah, Rays may have been looking bunt right there, but Mastriani swinging on that first pitch. Joe Vavra, the third base coach, going through signs. Some changes for the Twins over the winter, especially the coaching staff. Joe Vavra was the hitting coach last year.
Versatility on the hitting on the coaching staff.
Yes. Scotty Alger, who was the bench coach, is now the first base coach. Twins have a new hitting coach in Tom Bernansky, and new bench coach in Terry Steinbach. So they brought in a couple players with a lot of major league experience with Bernansky and Steinbach.
And Steinbach, a line of some outstanding Minnesota-born players who've had distinguished careers and have been associated with the Twins at one time or another.
Terry Steinbach out of New Ulm, Minnesota.
Hit by that pitch, and that's going to load the bases.
Well, going fastball in. Ball just ran in and got a piece of Mastriani as he takes first.
So Dan Rolfing, who started the day at first, who's now playing left, and a catcher by trade, is in there with the bases loaded and nobody out. There's a strike. Twins with 9 hits. They've out-hit the Rays 9-6. A foul ball. Both these teams still with 38 players in camp, 10 days out from the opening of the season. So some decisions yet to be made. Oh, there goes the bat on a wave and a miss. Rolfing out on strikes.
Well, Paduch picks up a big strikeout, that hard breaking ball down and away after going a couple inside. Rolfing chasing that pitch, and this is Tony Oliva bat flip. Big strikeout for the first out.
Eduardo Escobar now playing second. A threat by the Twins. Bases loaded without the benefit of a hit.
Good off-speed pitch there.
Escobar singled and scored a run in the 4th. 1 for 3. Will be out of play down toward the berm. Foul ball here. There's Christian on deck. Gutierrez at third. Colabello is at second. Mascherati hit by a pitch. He's at first. 1 away. Foul ball off the glove. The second baseman into right. 1 run will score. Throw to the plate. The tag is missed. 2 runs home. Gutierrez scores. Colabello scores the go-ahead run. Over to third, Mascherati, and Escobar is aboard. And the Twins take a 5-4 lead.
Yeah, Escobar pulling this ball right here, just off the tip of the glove, and then slowed up a little bit. Colabello coming in, and the tag is missed right there. He scores a second run. So Escobar driving in a couple runs, giving the Twins a 1-run lead.
Now Jason Christian, the shortstop. It's a strike. So 10 hits for Minnesota and 5 runs. The Twins have taken the lead.
You know, spring training games, especially late games like this, there are some young kids that get to travel, like Christian, Jason Christian, originally signed by the Oakland A's. Spent some time in the Cincinnati Red organization. Signed as a free agent over the winter. So here's a young man, 6 years in the minor leagues, you know. This is maybe the first time he's hit at the major league level in an A game. So he'll be making some phone calls, I'm sure. And hopefully they're positive. Well, maybe he won't be making any phone calls.
Well, 2 gone. And we'll go to the top of the Twins batting order.
Paduch picking up his second strikeout of the inning. Actually, his third.
He struck out
He struck out Domet, yeah.
But that first one reached, and it's been converted into what at the time was the tying run. He'd walk Colabello, who has scored the go-ahead run. And here's Hicks. He's been on twice today. This is his 5th plate appearance, officially 1 for 3. He walked with the bases loaded in the 4th for a run batted in. And the strike.
Fastball in. About 90 and then an 82-mile-an-hour changeup. Had some sink on it, down and away.
Twins have scored 2 runs on 1 hit in the 7th. Hicks has been a little more aggressive this spring at the plate. Some reports on him had been. There was some discussion that he was a little timid. He would take hittable pitches in an attempt to work the count. And he's had a good spring. And we heard Ron Gardenhire talk about how important he could be. The runner will take second on the pitch in. That's a stolen base. So Escobar is now in scoring position.
Well, Dwayne, as we talked at the top of the show, you know, the Twins lost Denard Span. He was a guy that liked to go deep into the count, take a lot of pitches. Then Ben Revere was almost the opposite. He was ready to swing at every pitch. And now Hicks is kind of somewhere in the middle. They'd like for him to be patient at the plate, but you know, he's got some pop in his bat. 13 home runs last year at the AA level, hit 286. But his importance part of this ball club is to get on base. With a very close pitch there.
Well, if he can get on base, we saw the kind of center field he can play. He ran down that fly ball back in the 5th inning. A great job there. And now he has
another pretty good take out there. Yeah, that's a pretty good pitch again. Last 2 pitches right there on the borderline, but Hicks took both of them and called a ball. Take a look at this pitch right here. Looked like another breaking ball. And a ball low. I would have swung at it, but that's why I hit 113.
And he draws the walk.
The second walk of the inning. For Paduch.
And now Nate Hansen will be the hitter. The Twins have reloaded the bases. Hansen entered at third base in the bottom of the 6th. It's an at bat here in the 7th. Been quite an inning for the Rays right-hander. 3 strikeouts, a couple of walks, a hit batter, 1 hit, and 2 runs so far. Count is 1-1.
Hansen, a Twins farmhand. He's been in the system. This will be his 6th season in the minor league system for the Twins. Last year at AA.
Foul ball will run the count to 1-2.
AA being in New Britain.
Retire the side. 4 strikeouts in the inning, but 2 runs for the Twins, and they take a 5-4 lead.
I think he tied.
Returns for 3 great matchups as Angels outfielder Josh Hamilton returns to Texas to take on the Rangers. Or the Yankees battle the defending AL champion Tigers. Or the Cardinals take on the World Series champion Giants in a rematch of the NLCS. It's the debut of Fox Saturday Baseball, April 6th. Twins 5, the Rays 4. Rays coming in to hit in the bottom of the 7th inning. 2 runs for Minnesota in the top half of the frame.
Well, one thing you see in spring training, a lot of times the closer will not pitch the 9th inning. Glenn Perkins on the mound. He will be the closer this year for the Minnesota Twins. See him making his 4th A appearance, 3 1/3 innings so far. He participated in the WBC along with Joe Mauer, representing the United States in the World Baseball Classic. Perkins last year, 16 saves. It was Matt Capps that was the closer at the beginning of the year. He ended up hurting his arm, and the closer opportunity came for Perkins, and he had 16 saves and 70 relief appearances. Very good 2.56 earned run average. Hard throwing left-hander, good slider, and a changeup.
And Jose Lobaton, batting from the right side, takes the pitch for a ball. Joey Johnson due next, and then back around to the top of the order. A strike. Jim Wood worked an inning and a 1/3. Gave up 1 hit, no runs, and picked up a strikeout. Kevin Correa pitched 4 2/3. Base hit through the right side for Lobaton. He has a 3-hit day.
Yeah, good day for Lobaton.
So Lobaton is aboard. Let's check into the Twins dugout with Dick Bramer again. Dick?
Well, thank you, Dwayne. Terry Steinbach, the bench coach for the Minnesota Twins, with us. Terry, you went through this process the final week of spring training as a player. What's it like as a coach with all these decisions that have to be made now?
It's very similar. I mean, as a player, when you're young, like some of the guys who got here battling for a spot, you're nervous and, you're on end and, you're going out there giving everything you got. And, as a coach right now, it's kind of the same thing. We're really pulling for all these guys. But as you know, we can't take everybody north of us. So, we're just going to play it out, this last week and just kind of see what happens.
One of the things that's yet to be decided for the Twins, will they go north with 2 catchers or 3 catchers? Your thoughts about the benefits of either?
Well, it's one of those things, obviously. If you go with 3 catchers, then it gives guarding the versatility of Doom at DHing and Joe catching, or Joe DHing, Doom at catching, or whatever, and it gives you that insurance, in case something happens if those two guys are in the game. If you go with just two catchers, now you got to be a little bit careful not to make your bench too short and this is a big if something would happen with either Doom or Joe when the game's going on.
One thing the Twins wanted to do, of course, is improve the pitching staff, but within that, controlling the running game better than they did in the past. How has that gone for whatever you can tell the games in spring training?
It's been going very well. I mean, it's a three-part thing. Our pitchers are really grabbing onto this. I mean, they're giving our catchers a chance. The pitchers that have been working really hard to improve their times to home. You saw Korea go out there today, and he did a really nice adjustment. I mean, he was 1-2s to 1-3s to home, which is perfect. We can definitely work with that. We're working with our catchers, to make sure that their throws to second are fine. Joe is at home right now, and he was, going to throw to the bases a little bit today to try to improve a couple throws that he threw in the dirt the last couple games. And Doom has probably been very consistent with us, doing it. And Drew, is hands down one of our better throwers. And for me, it's fun just to sit back and watch him do his job.
Not once you were established, you didn't have to go through this, but what's it like for a player who might be on the verge of making a major league club for the first time, and you get to this final week? What is that like?
It's extremely exciting. I mean, you mentioned that. I just got shivers down my spine, when we talked about it. I remember, my first time when, the Rooster came up and said, congratulations, you're going to Oakland with us, and, it's obviously very, very exciting, and it's what everybody's here for. Everybody's here to try to make the 25-man team, and they're all working really, really hard, and, hopefully, they make it, but, as we know, not everybody can go north of this.
Terry, thanks for the time.
Thanks a lot, Dick.
All right, guys, back upstairs.
All right, thank you very much, Dick. The Rays are finished in the seventh on the strikeout of Sean Rodriguez. 5-4 Twins. From Port Charlotte, our game rolls into the eighth inning. 5-4, the Twins lead the Rays. Right now, Todd Callis standing by with Jose Lobaton, who's had a very good day at the plate.
Certainly did, Dwayne. 3 hits today. And, Jose, you've had a chance to play a little more with Jose Molina playing in the World Baseball Classic. Has that extra at-bats, getting those reps, has that helped you at the plate?
Yeah, a lot. I mean, I've been a little struggling here in this spring, but keep working every day. And when Mo went to WBC, I was kind of like, okay, that's a better chance for me to get more at bats. And then I've been feeling better now the last couple of days, and then hopefully I can just keep doing what I'm doing right now.
We just saw the home run you hit left-handed opposite field. You hit pretty well, but the wind got a little bit of it too.
Yeah, I mean, homer is homer.
Yeah, it is. We just talked to Luke Scott, and Luke Scott said, he didn't give you any ice cream today. That's the first time you've ever hit a home run where Luke didn't give you the reward, huh?
I think it's like we don't have ice cream here. And then he said he got mad because I missed that ball in the dirt. And then...
So Luke said because you missed that ball in the dirt, no ice cream for you?
I say, Hickey say no ice cream for me. So I take that. I know I got to block that ball. So I was kind of like, oh, okay, I got you. But It's okay. I save the ice cream for the season.
We just showed your Baltimore home run, July 25th, where you did have the ice cream. So Hickey and Luke Scott decide no ice cream for you today. There's a high pop-up right in front of us. Shelley Duncan is going to camp under it and make the play. We're seeing the ice cream right now in Baltimore, and then you would hit another one later and get more ice cream. But today, the 3 hits, and you got to hit against the lefty your last time up, a very good lefty in Perkins. Have you had many spring training at-bats against lefties? Because it seems like you've been facing a lot of right.
Well, in the beginning of the spring training, I was more a bad, like, right-hander, and then right now a lot of lefties. So I can say last 2 weeks I've been hitting a lot of left-hander. I can say more than 10 at-bat. So it made me feel better now. Right now I've been working a lot with Shorty and then try to get, sometimes it's a little hard for a switch hitter like me. So I feel struggling left-handed and then I got to work left-handed and then I forget right-handed. So it's kind of like it being a little crazy for me, but working every day and try to do the best in the field.
Yeah, switch hitters, you've got 2 completely different at-bats and hitters every time. Final question for you. The go-ahead run, it was a tough play. Sean Rodriguez's throw comes up the line a little bit. Tell us what you're trying to do there. Obviously, you're trying to get to the ball and also get the runner to single.
Yeah, the ball was a little wild, kind of like moving the left side, and then I tried to catch the ball, just tag it, just quick, because I got no time. How can I come back? And then I can say he was straight, then he went a little bit around and tried, and I never tagged the running. So in that moment, I can't come back. So I got to just try to make that play just one tap.
Nice job with the 3 hits today, and we'll save the ice cream for the regular season.
Thank you very much.
So back to you guys.
All right, thank you very much. Butera hits one back into deep left field. Butera bounced one over the fence out there on a 3-1 pitch. Clement had popped to first in his first at bat, and now Butera, who entered as a pinch runner in the 7th inning, has doubled in his first at bat.
Yeah, Butera got a fastball that looked like Farnsworth wanted away a little bit, and it came riding back into the swing of Drew, and it's a ground rule double. So a 1-out double for Butera. Kyle Farnsworth on the mound, a guy that had some elbow issues last year for the Rays, but he's a big part of that bullpen.
He is indeed. Colabello misses the first pitch, strike 1. They have a group of veterans out there, and he's one of them. Peralta, who turns 37 today.
Well, happy birthday to him.
Very big part of it.
Do you know there's 13 more days until my birthday?
Little ground, but no way. That's a base hit into center. Butera will score, and Colabello has driven in a run to make it 6-4.
Yeah, it looked like Farnsworth kind of reached his hand out and tried to slow that ball down. As a pitcher, your reaction is, go after the ball. You'd like to get it with your glove hand, but here Farnsworth reaches back and right off the tip of his fingers does slow the ball down. Trainer coming out to see if Kyle Farnsworth is okay.
Now, you hate to see one of your pitchers, especially this late in spring training, instinctively reach for a comebacker like that, but that's what it is.
It's just your reactions. You'd like for it to, your glove hand, but you see it so many times. You kind of reach out there just to try to deaden the ball if you can.
And they're going to take him out. Jim Hickey has made the call down to the bullpen.
Well, the always dangerous part is, guys, I bite my nail, so I never had that problem. The ball could hit their fingernail and then crack their nail. And that's maybe what happened here.
Farnsworth will walk off, pitching the 3rd of an inning and allowing a couple of hits, and he will give way to the left-hander, Cesar Ramos, who's been up in the bullpen. Back in a moment. You're looking at Cesar Ramos. Ramos will take over for Kyle Farnsworth, and here's why.
Well, let's take a look right here. Farnsworth reaction, go back and get it. And they can almost see that it hit off probably the middle finger, maybe his pointer finger. It's kind of like, asking someone that dives into second base head first not to do it anymore. Your reaction right away is try to slow that ball down, and hopefully Farnsworth is okay. Cesar Ramos making his 6th appearance here in an A game for the Rays. Last couple years with the Rays. Originally came up with the San Diego Padres to the major leagues back in 2009. We were talking between the break there about you really like his left arm out of that bullpen.
Yeah, I really do. And he spent a good amount of time at Durham last year. Some of that as a starter. And when he came back to the Rays, he was very, very good. So it could be interesting to see the role he plays.
Well, you look at his minor league numbers. I mean, basically in the minor leagues, he was mainly a starter and then came up, made a couple starts for the Padres back in 2009. But really most of his outings have now been out of the bullpen at the major league level.
He's 28 years old. And I think he's one of those guys who could be a sleeper. You can see the Rays will open the schedule at home against Baltimore, get right into the American League East, and then take on the Cleveland Indians. In their first road trip, they head to Texas, Boston, and Baltimore. So they're going to get right into the fray, but they feel pretty good about the way spring training has gone, and they've been very optimistic down here.
So Baltimore's really going to play a role in both the Rays and the Twins, because the Twins, I know they open up April 1st, and it's not an April Fool's joke, in Minnesota against the Detroit Tigers, and I'm sure Justin Verlander will be on the mound for the Tigers. But here the Twins schedule, the day game and normally, the off day just in case of the weather up in Minnesota. And then they head to Baltimore for their first road trip, and then to go to Kansas City, and then come back. And boy, with the unbalanced schedule now with 15 teams in the American League, 15 in the National League, a lot of interleague play. So the Mets are coming to Minnesota in early April, and then the Angels, and then they're back on the road again.
And the Twins live pregame at 2 o'clock Central Time on Fox Sports North to get things started for the Twins, and the next day the Rays start.
Right fielder number 19, Darren Mastroianni.
Well, Ramos has an assortment of pitches, a fastball in the low 90s, curveball, slider. He'll throw a little cut fastball in on righties, and a good changeup. So he has starter-type stuff. It's not just a reliever coming in with a fastball slider, say a guy like a Tim Wood that came in and basically good fastballs, slider, sinker, slider type guy. Where Ramos will mix in 3 or 4 different pitches.
And he faces Mastroianni here in the 8th inning. Skies it toward center field. And Ball makes the catch out there. The 1 pitch. And he retires the hitter for the second out of the inning.
Left fielder number 84, Dan Rolfing.
Dan Rolfing, who's 2 for 4 today with a run batted in and a run scored. Started the day at first base, now playing in left field. Now, Ramos was part of the Jason Bartlett deal that also brought the Rays Brandon Gomes and Cole Figueroa, who's been impressive for Joe Madden as an infielder this spring.
Yeah, you mentioned Ramos at 28. He was a Padres #1 pick back in 2005. He played his college ball out of Long Beach State University.
One and one. They're in the 8th. Twins scored 2 runs in the 7th. They Added a run in the 8th. And it's 6-4.
Good off-speed pitch there. A little tail, almost like a tailing fastball down and away to a right-hander. Straight over the top. Almost at 6'2", about 205.
And he takes care of Rolfing. Nice break right there. Bottom of the 8th coming. 6-4 Twins. The Rays are ready for another exciting season in 2013. Experience it with Rays season tickets to get the best seats, biggest savings, and exclusive benefits throughout the year. There are a variety of plans to choose from with flexible payment options available. Rays down by a couple to the Twins. We go to the home half of the 8th inning. It's a 6-4 ball game, Minnesota. Rays.
You got Glenn Perkins got the 7th inning. The 8th inning belongs to Alex Burnett. See, 14 hits allowed in just 6 innings. These are one of the players, I think, pitchers that Rick Anderson was talking about. Hey, you know, we're about 8 days away from opening day. Alex Burnett, a big part of the bullpen over the last couple of years. Need to get that stuff down and put some zeros on the board quickly. So this is an important outing right here for Alex Burnett.
Yeah, he was in 66 games 2 years ago, 67 last year. And his first pitch is in there for a strike. Leslie Anderson leading off the bottom of the 8th.
Yeah, Burnett actually just fastball, slider. He'll mix in a big slow curveball and occasional changeup. A lot of times relievers don't have a chance to throw 3 or 4 pitches out of that bullpen. When they come in, you know, it's basically try to get ahead with a fastball, a hard breaking ball, and then get out as quick as possible. That's why you see a lot of closers that have maybe, you know, control of 2 very good pitches to be a great closer.
Anderson breaks the bat and is out. Colabello unassisted at first base. So Leslie Anderson is retired.
You guys have Fernando Rodney, you know, I mean, with the good fastball and then the split finger. Nasty.
Look at this.
Love that sound right there. The former pitcher. Another toothpick for Manny Sanguillen.
That's
a broken bat.
Jason Bourgeois bats for the first time in this game. And the first pitch strike. And the first again. Unassisted. And 2 outs. 2 up, 2 down. He's going to get Shelley Duncan to the plate for the first time in this game after taking over first base duties in the 7th inning. Duncan takes a pitch too low, a ball, no strikes. Burnett out of Southern California, grew up in the Anaheim area. Ground ball off his glove, deflected to second. Escobar will make the play. 3 ground ball outs, 1, 2, 3 go the Rays. On to the 9th, 6-4 Twins.
All the cool benefits that come along with being a Twins season ticket holder.
On to the 9th, a 2-run game. 6-4, the Twins lead the Rays. And Cesar Ramos is out of the game, pitching 2/3 of an inning. He worked an inning yesterday against the Baltimore Orioles. So he's gone in back-to-back appearances now, yesterday and today. Merrill Kelly will be the new pitcher for the Rays.
And that's good to see. You know, that's what you want your bullpen guys to do. Go a couple times back-to-back, then maybe give them a day off and then go back out because, you know, again, in today's game, the bullpen guys are used so frequently. Merrill Kelly, a right-handed pitcher, 6'2", about 190. Selected in the 8th round of the 2010 draft by the Rays. Last year in Montgomery, I believe that's single A, is it not? For that double A for the Rays. 8-3, very good 3.57 ERA.
Well, his first pitch is bounced foul by Eduardo Escobar, strike 1.
There's numbers at double A.
The 5th Rays pitcher of the day. Pitch is down. 1-1.
You know, when you look at numbers, I mean, the game of baseball is about numbers. 8-3, very good ERA, 9 starts, 32 appearances, but only 28 walks in 89 innings. Means he's around the plate.
And that's a good place to start. 1-2. Two balls, 2 strikes. The Twins scored first with a run in the second. The Rays tied it with a run in the third. Twins took the lead in the fourth inning with 2. The Rays scored 3 in the fourth, and then the Twins scored a couple in the seventh and 1 in the eighth. And the Twins now lead in the ninth inning 6-4. They've out hit the Rays 12-7. Nice stop there by Duncan. The toss to first, the race to the bag, and Kelly beats him in. That's out number 1.
Yeah, your responsibility as a pitcher once that ball is hit in that direction is to hustle over there. The PFP, pitcher's fielding practice. Do it every day in spring training. Watch Duncan right there kind of trap that ball, but the pitcher needs to get over there, which Kelly did to get the out. Escobar hustling down that line. He's smelling base hit right there. A bang play. And Kelly looked like he just got that right foot on the bag before Escobar.
The breaking ball to Christian that stays away. 1 ball, no strikes. Rays will be on the road. They'll have Jeremy Hellickson pitching tomorrow in Tampa against the Yankees. 2-1. And Matt Moore will pitch on Monday back here against Pittsburgh. Hot shot foul. And then in one of the still undecided spots in the Rays camp next Tuesday, Roberto Hernandez will pitch against the Phillies in Clearwater. And Roberto Hernandez, the former Fausto Carmona, is in a battle with Jeff Neiman for a spot in the rotation. Christian is out on strikes.
And Christian again will not be making any phone calls to family and friends. The second time he has struck out.
And now Brandon Boggs will hit out of the leadoff spot previously occupied by Aaron Hicks, who had a good day today. Hicks looked good defensively, had a base hit and a couple of walks. And now Boggs bats here in the ninth. Kelly throws him a strike.
Well, David Price started this ball game. He ended up throwing 91 pitches in 5 innings. But you were talking about the starting staff. I mean, you can trade a guy like James Shields because of some of these young, talented kids like Alex Cobb and Matt Moore, Jeremy Hellickson. 3 great arms right there to complement Price. And then you throw in a Roberto Hernandez. If he's the way he was, say, 3 years ago with the Indians, pretty good pickup.
He's been impressive in camp, and they've talked with Jim Hickey earlier in the spring, a week or so ago, and he was raving about what that sinker is like.
It's a nasty sinker when he can get it over.
Down the right field line, foul. It's 1-2.
And then Jeff Neiman too. I mean, you think about this guy. That's, what is he, 8'4"? You know.
Yep. Yeah,
he's a monster out there.
He's got that great angle, that's for sure.
Yes, he does.
And with great extension, when he gets extension, he's right on top of you at the plate.
You know, on the Dutch team, I had Luke Van Meel.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm still waiting for him to get to the big leagues. He'll be the tallest pitcher to ever pitch at the major league level at 7'1". And my goodness, you know, you just stand next to him and you feel like one of my grandkids talking to me, you know. He's looking straight down on top of my head. And he says, boy, you're going bald there. I said, go run some more laps.
That's it. 2-2. Ooh, there's strike 3 call. And it's a 1-2-3 inning. We got to the bottom of the ninth here. It's 6-4 Twins.
As we head to the bottom half of the ninth inning, last chance for the Rays here at Charlotte Sports Park. And right after the game, there's a special event. They've been doing charity events down here in Port Charlotte all spring long. We have Fortune Favors the Bald, where the guys got their head shaved for the Pediatric Cancer Foundation. We also, as you heard Joe Madden talk earlier, have Jay Madden driving cross-country in their RV, raising money for PetAnimalShelter.com. Today, after the game, Rays players, coaching staff, and yes, broadcasters as well, will be having this Hawaiian luau shirt on, serving cocktails to all the patrons who signed up for the luau. Pulled pork, lots of tropical drinks, lots of fun, and it's all benefiting causes here in the Port Charlotte, Florida area. It's been a great combination for the Rays ever since they moved down here to Charlotte County, and today the Rays paying the county back a little bit with a Hawaiian luau. Guys, back to you.
Very nice.
Yeah, and that's a very nice color for you, Todd. Casey Fiend is going to be the new pitcher for the Twins. He's their fifth pitcher. Alex Burnett worked one perfect inning in the eighth. And Fiend comes on to face Ryan Roberts.
Yeah, Casey Fiend last year with the Twins appeared in 35 ball games. Very good, 2.06 ERA. Sinking fastball, has a slider. Originally came to the big leagues with the Tigers in 2009.
Roberts up here for the first time. Takes the pitch for a strike.
You know, that's a nice gesture. I mean, manager, you're going to be out there, I'm sure, after the ball game, participating in that fundraiser. I think it's important when your manager is a big opponent of giving back. And I know Joe Madden is.
Yes.
And on the Twin side, Ron Gardenhire, the same thing. And when your manager wants to give time back, he expects his players to do the same. So tip my hat to both those managers and the organizations for setting up programs like this.
Yeah, there's a lot of that, as Todd pointed out, that has gone on here this spring. And Joe Madden, from the very beginning, has led the charge.
And on the Twin side, Ron Gardenhire, same thing.
Mike Fontenot. Pitch is a strike. Well, that was evident early in Ron Gardenhire. You know, his ability to bridge the gap. There's a guy from Oklahoma who went to the University of Texas and bridged that gap and went to the College World Series playing for him.
Yeah. Well, he loves to bowl. He has bowled numerous 300 games. So they Twins have a fundraiser around bowling during spring training.
A 2-strike count to Fontenot. So the Rays have utilized 5 pitchers. The Twins have utilized 5 pitchers, and they've both made a mess of our scorebooks.
Wow.
Strike 3 call to Fontenot.
Green coming in, throwing nothing but strikes. Working the outer half of the plate. Butera sitting away. Almost like a little cutter. Got the corner.
Cole Figueroa. And there's another strike from Fiend. He is a strike-throwing fiend after all. 7 of 7 so far. 0-2. We got Roberts swinging, Fontenot looking, and he has Cole Figueroa down on the count 0-2.
Fiend, one of those pitchers that'll give you that bulldog type look when he comes out into the ball game. Almost Troy Percival like.
A little roller up the right side.
That's the way to end the game.
Steps on the bag. 1, 2, 3. The Rays are finished. This game is over, and the Minnesota Twins have beaten the Tampa Bay Rays 6-4 here. Rays now 14-13, and the Twins are 13-13. Twins will be back on the air tomorrow, and we'll be with you again on Wednesday for the Rays' next televised outing. It's been a pleasure for Hall of Famer Bert Blyleven, Dick Bramer, and Todd Callis. Dwayne Stats, thank you for looking in. We appreciate your loyalty. It's been fun here. Another spring training day. 6-4 the Twins over the Rays. And from Port Charlotte, Florida, so long, everyone.
Bye.